Hello and welcome to the 201st installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our other host, Jordan.
That's me, baby, and this is the first take.
I never fuck up the intro. Jordan!
Yeah.
Where does this go? When we upload it to the internet, where do we put this show?
So, you can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Red Puppet, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS Feed linked below. YouTube Music, YouTube, and Spotify have the video platform where you can see us. Instagram, TikTok, contact us there. And as always, Synapse Misfire at pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats.
Yeah!
Chris,
Jordan.
last episode, which is 3 episodes ago for the audience, I talked about Assassin's Creed for like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we kind of bullshitted for a little bit. So I got to ask, Chris, even though this is totally out of date for these people, what's up with you, man? What's up?
Man, I watched, now that it's finally all out, I finally watched season 3 of Invincible. That show is fucking good, dude. That show is really good.
Was season 2 any good? I thought people were kind of...
Season 2, I think, of the 3 that are out now, season 2 is the weakest.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean it was bad, or like, I wouldn't even say that it was like, okay. It was still good. But like, I would say the first and third season have been like, the third season especially has been like uniquely good.
Yeah. I've only seen the first one. You can go into spoiler territory. I don't care. But the first one was exceptional. I loved the first season.
Season 2 has its moments. And overall it's fine, but like overall it's good. But season 3 has like, I think like every episode is like, it's like banger after banger after banger. There's a lot of plates spinning now where they've set up a lot of different story points where they have the whole thing with Omni-Man and Alan the Alien, played by Seth Rogen. And that's a plate that's spinning now. And then they're in deep space and trying to figure out how they're going to deal with the Viltrumites. And there's the idea of the multi-dimensional asshole from the last season, Angstrom Levy. That's another thing that's going on. And then there's the implications of there's the I guess like not the implication, but like the attempt from Mark to try to like impress morals upon his little brother, who's like half Viltrumite, half bug person. And there's that because he ages super fast, but also slow because of he ages faster than a person because that's how the bug people DNA is. But he ages slower than the bug people, way slower than the bug people because, the Viltrumite DNA.
Yeah, which they age incredibly slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, they live for, like, several thousand years or whatever. But these bug people only live, like, a year. Damn. So this kid, Oliver, was the, Invincible's half-brother, is, he's, like 6 months old or something in the show, or, like, a year old or something in the show, and he's, like, a 10-year-old boy.
That's crazy.
And there's the kind of morals that you have to impart on him that's like, hey, maybe unequivocally violently killing people is like probably bad across the board generally, but like kill the really bad guys, right? We're gonna try to kill the really bad guys. And also at the end of the season, to that point, Mark finally stops being a pussy, and he's like, I'm just gonna if I think anyone's dangerous ever again, that would have like future implications to kill people, I'm just gonna fucking kill them. Like, I'm not even
his thing now, yeah.
He's very explicitly like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill them now. Like, I'm not gonna try to take them and throw them in jail or whatever, or leave them for the government to rehabilitate. I'm just going to fucking kill them now.
Does something happen that I'm assuming causes him to have to make that choice and be like, fuck it?
Well, it's because of, I think it's more, it starts from the Angstrom Levy guy, where he thinks in the season 2 finale, he thinks he kills the guy. The guy doesn't die.
Oh, but is that the guy he like beats to a pulp?
Yeah.
And freaks out. I've seen that clip. Yeah.
The guy doesn't die, and he comes back another day, basically, and opens up all these like dimensional portals and brings in like 30 different Invincibles from like different realities to basically just wreak havoc on the entire world. And they there's like a ton of major characters, like a ton of major superheroes that have to fight all these Invincibles, and a lot of people get fucked up, a lot of people die, and he's like, well, if I would have just, and he thought he finished the job, to be fair.
But now he's like, making sure.
He's like, next time, yeah, I'm making sure. But also, there's the same idea of at the second to last episode, like towards the end, I think like right at the end actually, Conquest shows up, and he's basically like the Viltrumites like closer. Like he shows up to any like really resistant planet, any planet that's trying to get to resist the Viltrum Empire. He shows up and just like, his orders are to basically just raise the planet to the ground. Just kill everyone if you have to. So he shows up, and him and Mark fight, and it's really fucking good. Mark gets fucked up, but he eventually overcomes Conquest by because both his arms get broken in half basically by the end of the fight. So he just headbutts the guy to death. And it's fucking brutal. But it's a lot. It's pretty good, and that's when I think he makes the decision, like, yeah, anyone comes here and makes a threat, I'm gonna not hold back. I'm just gonna fucking kill them because I can.
So Mark is at this point, it seems like that strong now that he can take on someone like Conquest.
Oh yeah. He's strong enough to the point, and I think he's got more of, because he trains a lot, like in the beginning of the season, and he's basically, I think, fighting a little more like a Viltrumite would fight now, where he's kind of leaning into using his powers to accelerate, like, hitting people, basically. And he also knows when to hold back in certain cases. Like, in the beginning of the season, there's two guys who are trying to steal the Declaration of Independence. And
I've seen that movie.
And he shows up. It's him and Rex Splode show up. And they're just fighting these guys. And he's like, well, I don't want to really hit them. I think these are just normal guys.
That's funny.
And when shit escalates, when someone else shows up, he goes, he just turns to the guy, he's like, sorry, and just punches him like into a light post or something.
That's fair. He's like, all right, now I'm done playing.
I was like, all right, sorry about this, because these two guys are fighting these, like, the guys who are trying to take the Declaration, and they're casually having a conversation while just fighting these guys.
That's funny. That is actually really funny.
Because they don't these guys are nothing.
Yeah.
So,
make them think they're doing something.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
It's this season's a lot of fun. It's really good. If you haven't watched any of Invincible, I really recommend it. I think it's, and this recommendation, I think, comes highly from me, or means more from me specifically, because I am not a huge fan of superhero shit.
That's true.
And I think challenging the conventional sort of, and I will say too, the over the overall sentiment in this universe of Mark finally make the decision of like, oh, I'm just gonna kill all my villains, I don't think is an unequivocally good thing. Based on my track record, I would say like, oh yeah, just obviously just fucking kill everyone. But it is thoroughly established in the fiction of the show that he is by far the most powerful being on Earth until something else comes back that is more powerful than him. So until like another Viltrumite like Conquest comes back, or a bunch of Viltrumites come back, he is the most powerful being on Earth by far, by like a considerable margin.
Right.
And I think him just saying "fuck it," I'm just gonna, because he kills he gets into a scrap with the government basically, because they're building these like basically super powered drones, like androids, and they're all built by the same guy who basically almost kills his buddy's boyfriend in the beginning, in season 1. Yeah, and they rebuild him as like an android basically. Yes. They take that guy who built these android creations, and now they're using them like for their purposes, government purposes. And Mark ends up killing a bunch of these things. And there's a scene where he punches one of them so hard that the viscera of the android flying away from his punch breaks the sound barrier.
Damn.
He punches and it goes boom.
It's like a sonic blast. That's crazy.
So it's explicitly stated that he is he's like far and away the most powerful thing that's on the fucking planet. And I don't think him just not holding, because they also show when he fights Conquest is just how much power and destruction can be brought by just two Viltrumites fighting. Yeah. Like just two guys who are that powerful fighting, where like every hit they have with each other exerts like the force of like a small nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Like Mark will get punched across a city by Conquest, and all the buildings nearby will have significant damage just from the amount of energy that was exerted from by him that one punch.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
It's I think they build up his power really well, or they display it really well. And I think based on what happens in this season, I think there's going to be like a bit of a heel turn that he does where
maybe he loses his way.
Yeah, like he kind of plays too much into the power that he has now, where he kind of now understands how powerful he is. Where now he's going to be like, well, what are you going to do? Kill me?
Wasn't that kind of like Omni-Man's thing in a way? He put up a facade of like, yeah, I'm a good guy, but like he didn't mind just fucking murking things.
Yeah.
So like he's probably heading, like you said, like a heel turn towards that, where you're probably going to see him start to act more like Omni-Man.
I think so, and then they're gonna rein him back. Like something's gonna happen.
Maybe he kills a friend or something by accident.
Maybe, yeah.
Just fucking breaking the sound barrier.
And they rein him, but I think they gotta rein him in again. And I think that was explored a lot in this season, but I think next season it's going to be explored even further, which I think is really cool.
Has he seen Omni-Man since the first season?
Yeah,
and
that's how he gets his half brother.
Ah, okay.
So basically, one of these bug people shows up and says like, hey, our planet of 40 billion people is going to be destroyed. You need to help us. And he's like, fuck it, I'm in. And they go on this journey into deep space, and he gets to this planet of bug people, only to find that Omni-Man is not taken over, but has, by vote of that people on that planet, has ascended to their like king.
Yeah.
And he has like a bug person wife. And they have a bug person child.
Interesting.
And it's, I mean,
Bit weird, but okay.
yeah. And that's how basically he's trying to recruit Mark to say like, hey, what I'm doing here, abandoning my post on Earth and having a child with this specific species of bug people, this is two really, really illegal Viltrumite things. So they're going to show up here and they're going to kill everybody, including me. So you got to help me with that. And they both get the fucking piss beaten out of them
Really?
by 3 Viltrumites.
Damn.
And all they do is they take Omni-Man. They take him away. They just... And Mark just hangs out on this bug people planet and helps them rebuild. And then he goes back to Earth
With his brother. That's crazy. I've always liked how that show had the main people get their shit rocked like nonstop.
Yeah.
Like it's called Invincible, but he's very clearly not invincible.
Yeah. That's where we see like he's unbelievably powerful, but he is
Still one guy.
he's just like not confident in himself until like he's like way more confident in himself this season.
Yeah.
But he's just like not confident, or at least in the early season 2, like early season 2 or like season 1, he's just also not competent with his powers.
Yeah.
He's just like not
fully
good
attuned.
At them. Yeah.
It's just like floating through.
Because yeah, he can fly and punch real hard, but like there's also, oh, well, if I do this and then I fly into the punch this way and I hit at this angle, I can do much more damage hitting with more momentum this way.
Yeah.
Or I can I can do this and I can fly through people.
Right. I mean, yeah, that made sense. He's basically attuning to his powers. It's like literally like a D&D item. Like,
Yeah,
he's
and
attuning to it and learning new
He
masteries.
gets more combat wise too. Like he does the fucking bah.
I was gonna ask you, does the Hulk clap? Yeah.
He does like where I think you could do it in like the Batman Arkham games. Where you clap someone's ears.
Yeah. Just shit like that.
Oh
Like,
fuck.
just to like escape a situation and shit. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
A lot of the voice acting too in that show is really fucking good. And they have like a strange cast, like a strange cast of voice actors that they'll put in that show. One of the minor villains in this season is voiced by Aaron Paul, who plays Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad.
Damn. That's crazy.
And you know, there's obviously there's Conquest. He's played by, I'm trying to think of the guy's name, but I think he was in The Walking Dead.
Oh, it's it's the guy who plays Negan.
Negan,
that's whatever.
That's the guy. Yeah, he's played by,
God,
I forget the guy's name, but he's played by Negan, and that's like a really good voice actor. He's a really good voice actor.
I want to see the voice actor.
And
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
And the J.K. Simmons being cast as Omni-Man is a really good choice.
Yeah, I like J.K. Simmons a lot. Spider-Man!
So I've recently watched Spider-Man 2 again, and that the display of the role that J.K. Simmons plays as J. Jonah Jameson is so perfect. It's like but I think he does a great job as Omni-Man too. He's a pretty good job. But yeah, overall, really good season of television.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear that show's doing well, because I think the first season started so strong, and then I remember hearing kind of ramblings about the second season. So it'd be cool if they could make a game somehow. I thought that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be hard.
The gameplay implications of being invincible, though.
Yeah, it'd be hard. Definitely be hard.
Unless you were like a minor hero or something.
I guess. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I feel like it could be done like with today's sort of technology. Because have you ever seen the new Dragon Ball Z game when they fight and how they blast each other through like
Yeah.
mountains and shit. Like something like that could be kind of cool. Squaring off in like a 3D space. I don't know. I don't know. It would be hard.
Yeah,
It'd be really hard.
They do specifically make. I don't know. There are games that take extremely powerful characters and portray them as like a sort of fallible, being pretty well. I think they're like God of War, like all of those games, where if you were fighting mortals, it would be no contest really. But like when you're fighting other gods,
Yeah.
who are like about the same power level as you,
Yeah. I was watching some clips from God of War Ragnarok, actually, man. I love that fight with Heimdall. Oh, my God. When you finally land the hit.
It's a really good part of the game.
So good.
That game, if you haven't played it, you should play it.
Yeah, Valhalla is or Ragnarok, I mean, Jesus, is a very good sequel. Very good. Wicked strong. Stronger than Spider-Man 2, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think Spider-Man 2, having now played it fully,
And had time to reflect.
I don't think I got the same feeling out of the second one that I did the first one. Well, the first one I was like, oh, this is a nice little story, and it's also, this game is really fucking fun.
Yeah.
And then I played 2, and I was like, this is still fun, but like, I don't think it's as fun, or maybe it's just the charm has worn off.
Yeah.
From the first one.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like a lightning in a bottle situation. Not like totally, because there's still room for more games for sure. But I feel like just the timing of the first one, it was the first one in a while that we had gotten. Like it came out in 2018. The last one before that was like 2013, I think.
Because aren't they also working on a Wolverine game?
Yeah.
And haven't they been doing that for a while?
Since a little bit before Spider-Man 2, basically. Yeah.
I think the Wolverine game could be interesting, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think we're at a weird state right now with media about superheroes specifically. Mm-hmm. Because there was, the trend of all the superhero movies, and that's kind of fallen off now, and now it's just evil superhero movies. So what if we had Superman, but evil?
Yeah.
And that's being explored now, and I think that's also starting to fall off.
Yeah, like The Boys kind of started that trend. You're like, oh, wow, cool.
Oh, yeah, he's like Superman, but he's evil.
Yeah. And now it's just kind of like, eh.
And then you watch Invincible, and you're like, Omni-Man, he's like Superman, but he's evil. But obviously he has, both of these characters have far more character depth than that.
Than
but
just evil, yeah.
I think we need a new obsession in media other than superheroes, I feel.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, what's the next thing, right? I remember in doing some film classes, I did an intro to film class, and it was basically, we would talk about how different genres came to fruition and when they see more popularity versus when they don't. Where you see like sci-fi movies that depict aliens as like hostile invaders, that usually shows up during times of like strife relating to uncertainty relating to either immigrants or different groups of people. Well, but meanwhile, there's sci-fi movies that display aliens as like benevolent beings. They're in times of like more comfort and more acceptance.
Never
sort
thought
of
of
like
that.
the hippie era. But when we see, and you can see it reflected in horror movies too, where like, I don't think across the board, I think there's, most of the time I feel as though horror movies that come out are bad as just a rule, and the exceptions are the good ones.
Nowadays, I could see that. I guess, yeah.
But like when you see different things depicted in horror, like, oh, what's the big thing now that we see in horror media?
AI.
Is AI's one, but we also see a lot of, and I think it's part of the AI thing, is we see a lot of false people where
Putting
it's
up facades, yeah.
yeah, like skinwalkers, I think the alternates from the Mandela catalog. I don't think we see this so much in mainstream horror, but like we see a lot of, because mainstream horror isn't that good to begin with. Nowadays, I should say. But we see a lot of like false people putting up, a facade to try to lure you into some dangerous situation,
into comfort and then kill you.
and that's where we see parallels to like AI trying to make a facade as a human or whatever. But I think the superhero media is more for we're looking for like a strongman leader, right? Someone who's like sort of infallible, someone that embodies this ideal of of what good is. And now
choose.
we've reached a point where like, oh, well, people aren't that, and superheroes are people, so we need to deconstruct that a little bit.
Take down that falsehood, yeah.
We run into the like absolute power corrupts absolutely type stories now, which I think are really interesting.
But are also, like you said, getting, at this point, kind of played out in a lot of different media.
Well, yeah, but you can also display that in so many other genres that aren't superhero shit. I think a genre that really lends itself to that is like fantasy. I think there's so many instances of that in fantasy.
Yeah.
I've even like started seeking out fantasy like books specifically for shit like that. Because I'm like, I want to hear about some cool shit, but with swords and whatnot, that tells an interesting sort of story about people at different levels of power, essentially.
Yeah, like a hierarchy of power.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like there's plenty of room for those kind of stories, and in a way, you kind of, I feel like a big thing you see in media now, or at least it feels like it, is like a lot of stories of like the underdog. Like it's a character that gets down, is like down but not out, and then they come back stronger. I mean, we talked about it in the last recording. It was, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei. Like those are three kind of examples of that. Like this person gets their ass kicked, come back stronger. Like you get a lot of that, or rallying the troops, so to speak.
Yeah, I think those sorts of things we can see, and this is what I have learned, especially more in recent years, is that people don't think about pieces of media like this ever nowadays.
Yeah.
I think people will watch a movie and they'll be like, and I do this too, to be fair. You have to watch a movie a few times to like really pick through the subtext of what's happening.
Yeah.
But people watch a movie and then just do like a surface level analysis of what's going on, but then not consider what like external factors would have led to a story like this being created in the first place.
Yeah.
Or what mirror the author is holding up to reflect back on what they're seeing, right?
Yeah. Their vision, but with a different coat of paint, essentially. That's what they're seeing.
I think about this as I write more and more fantasy stuff now. I've been on a kick of that like lately, especially. Is it like it's so easy to just put in a message and then hide it under like a few layers of stuff, and now I'm just reading a fantasy story. I'm not just seeing a parable of what modern life is like.
The current political, economical situation.
I'm not seeing a reflection of us. I'm just seeing wizards and shit.
I just see a bunch of peasants who can't afford houses. It's weird.
I just see a bunch of people who can't afford anything. I just see a bunch of people who are ridiculously powerful and then trying to hoard all that power
and take it away from everyone else. And everyone else is miserable.
Dude, that's crazy.
And no one will do anything about it.
No one wants to do anything about it. Yeah. That's weird. Yeah. Why would they, dude? What could they mean by this?
What would this story possibly be about?
What could this mean?
Yeah. There's that whole quote about like how the wealthy stay wealthy. Like it's weird.
And this has been a very popular topic of conversation on the internet of like how people like media literacy is dying.
Dead internet theory. Let's go.
I also think there's this statistic that's like 54% of Americans read at a 6th grade level or below, and I think the part of that they don't talk about is that reading isn't just seeing words and knowing what they mean, is seeing a story or a complex narrative and then picking out the subtext. There's more to.
That's comprehension, yeah.
Yeah, and they try to teach that in English class, but like I feel like they either don't do a good enough job, or I was too stupid and not paying attention, and they don't make it interesting enough for me to want to do it.
Yeah, I feel like that line isn't drawn for a lot of people, where like reading and comprehending are two different things.
Yeah,
and like I feel like if you could teach that, right, teach the difference between those two, it helps to make you understand better. Because they always tell you in school, they're like, analyze the text for proper comprehension. But like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, they don't explain like, and the way it finally fucking clicked for me is I heard someone explain, this was more so in relation to movies, but it extends to books and everything. Whereas if an author is putting down a word or they're filming a scene in a movie, they're doing that to advance some aspect of the story, and they're not doing it just because.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like that fucking saying of like, oh, well, sometimes the curtains are just blue. No, if the author's going out of their way to mention that the curtains are blue, it probably fucking means something.
Yeah, it's not all just.
They're not putting it there for flavor text. It's, well, this probably represents something.
Yeah, whether it's sadness in this household or something.
Yeah, whether it means like, whether it is hyper significant to the overall story is really irrelevant. But like, in terms of the theme they're trying to convey, it's probably relevant.
Yeah.
I dealt with that a lot with my lighting class. Was like, we would see lighting in movies, and it was always indicative. The certain colors were always indicative of the underlying mood of the scene. Where you would see, oh well, this scene has a lot of green in it. This scene has a lot of green in it, or a lot of yellow in it, or a lot of blue in it. Or the lighting in this movie starts off really cold and then gets warm as the character gets more and more comfortable with themselves.
As he softens up and
things like that. And sometimes there are just people out there who are like, well, I think they turn the yellow light on this one and they turn the blue light on this one, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, no,
I think they turn the wrong light on.
No, they probably did that for a reason, buddy.
Yeah. No, it's fair. Like, yeah, and like I'm definitely I'm definitely guilty of it, of like seeing a movie that I know going into. I'm like, oh, this has some like meaning, but I'm just like, nah, I'm just here for the movie. And I just watch the movie and I'm like, that was fun. And I don't like bother to think of the context or, like you said, the outside factors that influenced it.
Yeah, well, it's tough. It depends on, because you have to balance. You have to do like you have to do like an intellectual to slop ratio that you have to manage. Whereas, like, okay, I'm not gonna do a deep contextual analysis of Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, right?
Yeah.
Or the Minecraft movie, or whatever.
But we are NetSuite. A week ago.
As this is released, we actually already did.
Yeah, we did it. Go check it out. Minecraft movie synopsis.
And but I would do like a deep contextual analysis of like of like fucking Moonlight, It's like, oh, or like a movie like Talk to Me or something. It's like, oh, well, what else could this mean? What could this be conveying? Because I understand it's trying to convey more, whereas something like, and this sounds hypocritical because of what I just talked about, but something like Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, I don't think is written to be looked into that much. It is an underdog story, so you get that kind of aspect of it. And I'm sure there's analysis that could be done. I
mean, we kind of did it when we watched it. Yeah. We were picking things out.
Yeah, but I don't feel as though I also feel as though that not all texts, not all media are worth criticizing evenly or picking apart evenly.
Fair.
Because the subtext I would pull out of, like a beautifully shot A24 movie versus Beverly Hills Chihuahua,
Yeah, that's fair.
starring George Lopez. I wouldn't pick apart Citizen Kane the same way I would pick apart Shark Boy and Lava Girl, right? Also
Shark Boy and Lava
starring
Girl's
George
also-
Lopez.
Yeah, and also way more serious than Citizen Kane.
Obviously, I think they do say Citizen Kane is like a masterpiece of a movie, but they obviously haven't seen Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Honestly, like how could you?
I have seen that movie so many fucking times in my life.
Me too. I've seen it like 4 times. Shit sucks.
I used to have, I don't know where it ended up, but they had a 3D version of the movie
Oh my god.
where they had Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D glasses that you would put on, and you could watch it and you pop the DVD in. It was the 3D version of the movie.
Damn.
And that shit looked terrible, but it was because they didn't have the technology, obviously, of the 3D screens that you would have in a movie theater. So they just did the red and blue thing.
Yeah.
So the
Kinda
whole
color
movie is
shift it.
fucking red and blue now.
Yeah, that's what sucks about those old 3D things. Is like, all right, we're gonna just make this whole thing red and blue. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
I think I brought this up at one point on this show. But when's the last time you saw a movie in 3D? They don't do that anymore. What happened to that?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I really can't recollect what the last thing I saw. Maybe it was like I think I saw The Mummy in 3D back in high school. The new Mummy with Tom Cruise. I think I saw that in 3D, or maybe it was Pirates of the Caribbean. One of those two. I remember it was in 3D.
Because 3D was like, every movie was also in 3D for like a while. And there was a point where they 3D started to get popular, and then they would bank the movie on like 3D. And
it was never
so
good.
every shot would be like wow, check this out.
Yeah, and of course. It was all like going straight at the camera.
Yeah.
They're shooting a gun and the bullets are like whizzing by the camera. And
Exactly. But yeah, whatever happened to that? I wish I could have seen Five Nights at Freddy's in 3D.
That would have been a good one, I bet. That would have been a good one.
Like the little cupcake thing did the jump scare. And if it was diving at the camera, and now it's, whoa, it's like I can really see it.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool, I think.
I've said it before that the VR movies are pretty cool. The ones where they use like a 360 camera.
Interesting.
They've made a couple of them, not many, but they stick you just like in the shot in like a 3D camera.
I've
cool.
seen episodes of SpongeBob rendered out like that.
Oh, really?
They just put you in the episode, and whatever's happening in the scene is happening, but you're just standing there. So it'll be like,
Eating at the Krusty Krab.
it'll be the customer walks up, is like, I'll take Krabby Patty with extra onions. So that scene is playing out, but you're just a patron in the Krusty Krab. So that'll happen. You'll turn over, and you'll lose audio in one ear or whatever. I think that's pretty cool.
I was saying that's actually really neat. Yeah.
I don't think VR is mass adoptable enough to make significantly long movies, because there is a huge portion of the population that will just get violently ill
Yeah.
playing going through a VR movie.
I want Paul Blart Mall Cop in 3D and VR.
3D VR Paul Blart Mall Cop, but you're just a patron of the mall. So you see this.
You're just hiding the whole time.
So you're walking. That's how the beginning of the movie is. You're walking, and every so often you see Kevin James whiz by on a Segway, and or there's isn't there a scene in the beginning of that movie where he's doing a bunch of tricks on his Segway
to impress the girl.
to impress women? Imagine they put you in that scene as one of the neighbors. So it's just you looking out the window like this, and you see your neighbor fucking around on a Segway.
Yeah.
What is he doing?
They get to the hostage scene, and you're just one of the hostages just hanging out, tied up. You're like, this fucking sucks. I'm just sitting here waiting.
This guy's gonna fucking kill me, I think.
He's gonna end up fucking shooting me in the head, and then Paul Blart just falls through the roof.
Paul Blart does an elbow drop from low Earth orbit on this guy, killing him instantly.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. Yeah, that... I don't know, man. That fucking movie. Oh, what a good time that second one was.
Let's do a VR game, but it's just the perspective of Mimir from God of War.
Have you seen the people who modded it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Talk about a VR experience that'll make you sick.
Yeah. Kratos runs and you're just like... Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Getting a look at Kratos' ass all day, smelling that. He has a nose still, too. Poor guy.
Dude, and you know the hygiene standards of that time.
You know Kratos be dropping some bombs, bro.
No, dude.
Getting nervous before the Odin fight, he just...
He's nervous. Oh, but do you think he's there all the time too? Like, is Kratos is like, I am the god of piss, and he's just Mimir, don't look. I'm embarrassed.
That's funny. Yeah, something like that. I'm surprised I never made Mimir like a new magical body in that game.
That would be interesting, don't you think?
Give him like an ethereal body where he's like a fucking shadowy guy with his head floating there.
Like how Heimdall just gains a new arm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They should have done that with Mimir. That'd be cool. And he'd just be like this little, or what he could do is maybe dissolve the body at will. When like,
so he just turn into a head.
He could just like, all right, I'm gonna launch myself, and he jumps, and he's like, but the gap is too small, and he just turns back into just a head, and flies over.
And breaks his fucking nose on the landing.
I made it.
That's funny. Yeah, that would be something like that. Would be kind of cool. But, you got anything else with what you were saying? You got a final tirade about how media illiteracy is a new thing? No. Damn you, Chris. Damn you.
Damn you.
Damn you. Yeah, man. I don't know. I've been just kind of experiencing things in terms of just different games. And
what do you mean by that?
So I took this big, giant Moby.
I've been just finding out that my ass is more than shitting.
Oh, God. Gross. But yeah, no, I don't know. I've been living and playing some games here and there. Mostly, I tried going back to Yakuza. Like I said, that wasn't the most like successful. But I beat Pirate Yakuza. And that was fun.
Yeah, the thing is like we're not eating good anymore as gamers.
Really not.
We are not eating good anymore. There was a time where we were eating good.
You guys realize
really good.
You guys realize that Spider-Man PS4, God of War, and Red Dead 2 all released in the same year.
Same year.
That is the most stacked year ever. That's crazy.
Because we've had so many good years for gaming that like now we're in a fucking drought. 24 was terrible for games.
Yeah, it was pretty mediocre. 23 was all right.
23 was pretty good. 23 had like Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 3.
I was going to say.
Baldur's Gate 3.
And then we got Cyberpunk 2.0.
I think that was 23. Yeah.
With the DLC for...
Phantom Liberty, yeah.
Had that. There was stuff. It's just been so long, I'm not remembering. But I know 23 was a decent year.
22 had Elden Ring.
Spider-Man was 23, I believe, right?
Spider-Man 2. 22 also had God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, God of War Ragnarok. Yeah.
But because we were in a drought at one point that I remember very distinctly is 2014 was like a uniquely terrible year for games.
I wasn't a crazy I was a gamer, but I was playing old shit back then. I didn't even have like a new console, so I'm trying to think.
I didn't really play anything that new either because I don't have money.
Exactly. I couldn't afford it.
But I paid attention to that space, and that fucking way more than I do now, by the way. And that year was so bad for games.
Isn't that the year Assassin's Creed Unity came out?
Yeah. Like every game that came out was broken. That's when we started getting flooded with microtransactions.
Battlefront, I think, was that around that time?
Yeah, Battlefront.
Which was Overwatch 2014 too? Or was that 2015?
Overwatch was 15 or 16.
Okay, so that was probably on the horizon at that point, maybe.
When Overwatch came out, we were eating good for a while.
Yeah, well, right. Witcher 3, 2015.
Witcher 3 was 15 too, yeah. So 2015 kind of brought it back a little bit, but like 2014 was like such a uniquely bad year for games. I'd say like 2018, 2019, probably 2017 to 19, we were eating pretty good. Yeah. 2020 fucked it. But then all the stuff that got pushed from 2020 came out in like 22, 23. So we were eating unbelievably good.
That's why 24 was kind of dog water.
And 24 was like, well, we got nothing left.
We blew our load.
Yeah, we blew our load on all these games.
Yeah.
Now we're going to announce games that are coming out in 5 years.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what GTA 6 does if it releases this year, you know? That might be like the only like holy shit moment of the year, you know?
I'm going to put it on record now. I don't think GTA 6 is coming out this year.
I think it's going to be early 26, personally, because they're saying fall 25.
I'm thinking probably this time next year.
You think so, yeah? So it'd be like mid 26 almost.
Oh,
well, we're only in March going into April.
We're in March. So it's probably like, I think probably March.
Q2.
26.
I could see it.
If it comes out this year, it's going to come out in like December.
Yeah, I could see it.
But I see it being pushed to next year.
Makes sense.
Because there's, you know, and that's just how the games industry is now. They just, I need them to stop announcing things so far in advance.
I agree. Like, I miss the days of like, hey, it's June. This new game got announced. It's out September. And then, like, if it gets delayed, it's like October or November. Not we're delaying it to 27.
I think Call of Duty is like one of the only franchises doing it right still.
In terms of that,
because they'll announce a game in like September, and they'll be like, all right, in November it's coming out.
Yeah. They announce it in like early or mid-September, and then they spend October doing like little dumps of info.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, November 11th-ish.
Or maybe they'll drop like a teaser.
Or beta.
They'll drop like a teaser in like August or something. Or July maybe.
Yeah.
And then they'll put out like a trailer official announcement in like late August, early September. And they're like, all right, it's coming out in November.
Yeah. And then you just get little pieces of info from there, like more trailers, betas, shit like that.
But that's the thing is like, you're not doing much with that game though.
Right.
So like, oh, we're gonna announce like a great immersive story experience. Here's a fully animated trailer that shows no gameplay. This game is coming out 2087.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff needs to quit.
This game is coming out in the year 3000.
You know what I kind of like more? Warhammer Space Marine 2. I like what they did. So Space Marine 2 came out in September. It was pretty successful. People liked it. And then the developers literally went on Twitter and were like, yo, we're starting Space Marine 3, but we have nothing for you now. Like, we just know that it's like a thing that we are going to make. And that was it. So we know it's coming. They haven't said anything. They haven't showed trailers, nothing. They were just like, yeah, we want to make a third one.
Because it's really, really hard to build hype for that long.
Yeah. You can build it, and then it just sort of climaxes and drops.
Because I think that's the detriment of so many games, is they build so much hype and then they can't deliver on that hype, or they deliver way too late on that hype. Mm-hmm. There's a case to be made about something like that one Assassin's Creed game. Which one was it where they promoted it for like 2 days and then dropped it?
Mirage?
Yeah. It was... I started seeing ads for it and was like, "Oh, it's out."
Yeah.
It's like it's not that this is coming out next year. It's out now. I had not heard about this game until 2 days ago.
Yeah. That was like how that pretty much went.
There was also, I think, a Beyonce album where she just did not announce it at all. She just dropped it.
Yep. I think I did hear about that. Shadow drops are nice. Hi-Fi Rush did that for Microsoft in like 23.
Kendrick Lamar's new album, GNX. He like announced it on Twitter, like, "Hey, the album's coming," and then 30 minutes later, he dropped the album.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it though.
New album coming out. Here it is.
Well, because you get like the trending headline from everyone being like, "Oh my God, he's making a new album," and now
it's there. Now
when
you can
people
have
start
it.
to look it up, right? If say you're at work and all of a sudden you come home, and you're like, "Okay,
Oh shit, it's out."
You click on it and it's like, "Oh, the album's here." Like I'm gonna listen to it now. You know,
Which is genius marketing strategy. If you're big enough already.
yeah,
Like,
you got to be big enough. Yeah.
If something like
Harvest Moon. If Harvest Moon did that.
if like I would even say something like Baldur's Gate 3, if they did that.
For Baldur's Gate 3, yeah.
Yeah, if they just dropped the game without any like note beforehand, I don't think it would have sold nearly as well, or it wouldn't have sold nearly as well, nearly as fast, because it's a really good game.
Kind of speaks for itself.
But it would have been like people would buy it, and then it would have to sit for a while, and then the sales would explode, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been like a growth on that curve exponentially. Yeah, no, I mean, I like the quicker announcements. Like, I think it was the last recording we just talked about where we said the Elder Scrolls was announced in 2018. Like, that's sickening. That's sickening. Like,
it's unbelievable.
Chris, we were in high school when that game got announced. Like,
oh yeah, we were, dude. That's crazy.
like I'm pretty sure 2018 would have been like a little bit after we met, essentially. Like, we met in like late 17.
Yeah.
So, like, this podcast didn't even exist back then.
2018 was, I believe. No, I think I got my PS4 in 2019.
Yeah, for Red. No, it would have been 18 because you got it for Red Dead 2.
Yeah, but I got it a few months after Red Dead 2 came out, which I came out late 18.
It was October of
Yeah.
18. I didn't know you waited. I forgot about that.
I think I got it in like March of 19.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So like, but I point stands. If you don't have anything, like if the game isn't even in the works yet, don't tell us about it.
Yeah.
If it's if you have, we have like a framework. We have the stories kind of set in stone. We're just animating right now. Yeah, then tell us about it. Sure.
Yeah. Not unless you have a billion hours of animation to do still. You know.
Yeah, but there's also like I think how much time usually is it between the game like going gold and release?
Usually it's only like a couple months, maybe a quarter at most, like 3 months.
So like if it's like they announce it 3 months ahead of time, the game is like already gone gold and they've done it. Or in the case of Cyberpunk, like didn't they go gold and then like they pushed the release like another 6 months or something?
I think so. I think they were one of the only games that has backtracked on going gold. I remember that being a thing.
That's so they're already like printing all the discs and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, all right, announce it. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, wasn't Cyberpunk announced in 2013?
I think so, yeah.
And then it came out in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's crazy. I mean, it's 7 years. It's kind of the same as the gap between like a Red Dead 1 and a Red Dead 2 in terms of release, but like it was announced so early. It'd be like if you beat Red Dead 1 and at the end of it was a trailer for Red Dead 2.
Yeah, this is like
like, okay.
Or see, there's a show I watched. There's an anime called Dr. Stone, and at the end of season 1, unless I made this up in like a fever dream, but I very distinctly remember in the season finale of season 1, after the episode ended, there was like a big flare of like fire or something, and it said season 2 confirmed. I was like, fucking okay, yeah.
Great.
Hell yeah, dude.
Good for you guys. I'm glad. I mean, it's kind of like Invincible. When Invincible season 1 came out, like 3 days later, the director was like, "Oh, we've been greenlit for 2 and 3."
Well, yeah, but then season 2 took like fucking 3 years to come out.
Yeah.
See, at least season 3 came out a year after season 2.
Yeah, and it's probably because they got greenlit for both at the same time, so they probably already had this plan and just kind of, did most of the asset creation for like 2, and then we're like, all right, 2 is about to come out. 3, you know.
Imagine they didn't get greenlit for season 4, and they supposedly were told to like shut down. I would probably.
You have to read the comments.
Yeah, which I think the comics now are. The show is now deviating from the comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe is the case. So I've heard from people who have read them. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna read them.
Yeah, I used to be more into graphic novels. I'm not too much into them anymore.
I've read comics before. Like I've read like manga and I've read some comics, but like not like really my jam. I also, especially if I'm consuming media that's like in print, I prefer to listen to it. That's because fair. I have so much more time to listen to shit than I do to read stuff.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not fucking good at reading. I read pretty slow.
That's fair.
I can skim stuff really well.
Yeah, but to actually read and comprehend.
I don't have dyslexia, but like I got something that makes it slow for me to read.
Low IQ, maybe.
Yeah, maybe because I'm an idiot and I got mush for brains.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'll start reading and then I'll get distracted by something and then I'll read and then I'll like
lose your place.
I lost my place and then let me reread this again. But now I'm looking down at the bottom of the page now.
I do that too. I don't know why the fuck I do that. I'll like skim the bottom of the page as I'm reading the top. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Like.
But when I listen to it, I'm absorbing the story, and all the distractions I can exercise my distractions basically. Mm-hmm. Because I am listening to it while doing something else, but like the thing I'm doing usually doesn't require a lot of focus. But it's idle enough that I can focus on the story and
accomplish the task
and not get distracted because I'm focused on 2 different things at different levels. It's weird.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like a hierarchy of comprehension.
That's why I'm always trying to do multiple things at once, right? Like I'll if I'm working, I'm usually listening to something. If it requires a lot of thought to listen to, I'm usually doing like idle work. But I'll listen to something. I have like one high comprehension task and one low comprehension task going at one time.
Peak efficiency.
And then, if I'm listening to something that needs a little more comprehension, I'm doing idle work. If I need to do work that's a little more involved, I'll put on like just music or something, or something stupid that's not worth paying a lot of attention to. And I'll also chew gum. I'm always chewing gum.
Interesting. I feel like I've never seen you chew gum.
It levels me out. At work, I do.
No, yeah,
specifically.
Interesting.
It levels me out.
Hey, it's better that than like chewing tobacco.
I gotta have at least 10 processes running at all times.
Multi-threaded processor.
Or else, and they're all running at like 40% efficiency.
Makes sense.
Or I'm shoving 90% efficiency to one core and 10% to the other one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I kind of do that too.
So
to an extent.
But also to that same end, like there's a lot of shit that I just can't do concurrently. That some people are like really bad with it. Where they'll have a show like Invincible or like Breaking Bad on, and then they have that on while they're playing a game or something. Yeah. Or they'll be playing like I'm playing The Witcher 3 while watching Family Guy or something.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? The only game that I think you shouldn't do that with, that I do that with, is Skyrim, and it's only because I've played that game so many fucking times that like the story doesn't really matter that much to me anymore.
That's fair.
And if something that important shows up that I'm going to miss, I'll just pause whatever I have on the screen. And that's another going back to my old man yells at cloud rant. About media literacy. That's how a lot of things are being written now. Is they're supposed to be Netflix released. I don't know if it was leaked or if they released something about it, but they're making things that are specifically supposed to be second screen content because they assume that whoever is watching this is like on their phone or they're playing games or they just have it on. So a lot of these, especially documentaries, will have like they'll kind of meander and they'll repeat things a lot, and
It's like getting watch time in while it's irrelevant content because the person's not even fully
exactly
locked in anyway.
because like they mention a plot point 4 times because there's a very good chance that on the other 3 the person was on TikTok or something.
Yeah. Or on eBay looking at retro games.
Or
they're like stupid or
on
something.
eBay looking at vintage porno mags. That's what I do.
Used ones.
Really used. I want the pages to be like sheets of glass. I want this thing to arrive in my mail, and the mailman can't even put it in the mailbox because if he bends it, it'll shatter like a record.
Yeah. Not even like a slight bend, by the way. It goes from being perfectly 0 degrees to just shatters instantly. There's no flex, even on an atomic level.
I need these things to be damn near bulletproof.
Yeah.
There
you go.
There has to be like a collector of that, right? Like a guy who's like, I need to collect every Playboy that's ever been released.
Oh, 100%. I thought you were still on the tangent of used Playboys. I was like, I don't know about that.
There's definitely people who collect those too.
Really?
Almost certainly. There has to be. There's guys who collect everything. I see this guy occasionally who's got a collection of fans. Like just fans.
Okay.
And he'll be like, "Well, this is this model from 1963." Like, awesome, dude.
Good for you, I guess.
The thing with a collection like that, or there's a person that I see occasionally who collects toilets. They have like 50 different toilets.
Like what?
Like, check out this toilet from 1946 that I have. And the only thing that I think is really interesting about that specifically, the toilet thing, the fan thing, or collecting just old like random items like that, is how shit everything is now and how good it used to be.
Yeah, it's much more robust and stout.
Like, granted, in the 60s, like, yeah, this fan is made entirely of metal, but there's they didn't put a grate in front of the blades yet. So it's just like 4 wires that are holding the frame of the actual fan together. So if you slip, your hand is going right into those metal blades.
Yeah.
But or I guess with the toilet guy, it's they flush powerfully. Like if you flush this thing, there is no remnants left in the bowl, but you're using like 14 gallons of water to do that.
Yeah, you're blasting it.
Where my toilet, it's like 1 gallon per flush.
Yeah.
I got the push button start on mine.
Hell yeah, push to start.
It's got 2 buttons. It's got a piss button and a shit button.
I call that the push to shart, dude.
Push to shart.
And that's what I say.
Like, I got my push to shart on.
I feel like those never work as well as they should, though. Like, the piss button's fine, but I feel like every time I've been to someone's house and used it and I do the shit button, it's like just slightly not enough.
I don't know. I'm a D1 shitter, and that shit button, it knocks it out.
Yours is new. I'll have to
I'm a
test it.
D1 shitter, man. I'm a
Full ride scholarship.
I am a real shitter.
You got a full ride scholarship.
Shit.
What are these shit puns you're making?
I'm on the shitting team at Duke University, okay? I'm in.
You know how athletes take like steroids and stimulants and stuff. I'm telling you right now, if there was a shit team, White Monster. That's the stimulant.
White Monster.
I'm convinced that expands your intestines by a couple millimeters, just enough for everything to be free flowing, dude.
Well,
it's like turning a spigot on. It's like
caffeine is a laxative, to be fair. that I just think I think stimulants in general are like laxatives. I just think everyone is or has some degree of immunity to caffeine as a laxative.
Yeah. It's probably fucking bred into us with the amount that gets consumed.
Well, yeah, because like things just idly have caffeine in them. Like shit that has no business.
They have Crystal
having
Light packets
caffeine
with that shit, dude.
in it has caffeine in it, which is awesome. I think like a soda like root beer is really holding it down on the no caffeine.
Yep.
Not that like the amount of caffeine that's in soda is like really that big of a deal
like 50
for me.
milligrams usually, but it's still there.
If I drank like 15 Diet Pepsis, it'd probably be too much caffeine. But
Yeah.
you know, if I had a normal human amount of Diet Pepsi, I would probably be fine. But yeah, that's my rant. That's me talking about my fecal matter and Invincible.
Not in that order, but yeah.
That's our show.
Yeah, it's all she wrote.
That's our show. We gotta do another Will Geralt win segment.
We do. That'll be the next regular one we record, which is in a little bit. We will have to do that.
In 500 years when we shoot the next actual regular episode.
No, because the next one that we're gonna actually record, like for us in the now, it's the Minecraft one, and then we have a regular one right after that.
Technically, we do. Yeah, you are correct.
So
it's special, but it's also regular.
Yeah, it's thematically special, but like content wise,
it's
whatever we make it.
Yeah,
the world is our oyster.
I don't know. They've already seen it. This comes out after that, so I don't know why we're being so cagey.
So did we do the Geralt win thing?
Did Geralt win? Let us know.
I would love to know.
Let us know. I'll check the comments on this one.
Yeah,
let's see if Geralt won.
Yeah, episode 200, baby. It's so weird recording these like out of order. It's bizarre.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the show. Jordan?
Yep.
You gotta remind the people.
As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS Feed link below. YouTube Music, YouTube, and Spotify have the video platform. I had a buffer in there. And Instagram, TikTok, and then Synapse Misfire at pm.me. Send your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats.
Bro lost connection to the mothership for a minute.
I was rubber banding.
my ping is like fucking 400 right now. I don't know what's happening.
Also, check out episode 200. And check out the Minecraft Spoiler Cast 199. We say that the movie could like get canceled, and that episode never comes out.
It gets canceled on release day.
Yeah, we're there, and they shoot us.
we show up. There's going to be a guy with a machine gun in the corner of the theater. If anyone says chicken jockey, they get shot.
That means we're fucking dead because you're gonna say it the second we sit down.
Chicken jockey. Every 10 seconds of that movie, until he says it, chicken jockey, flint and steel, the nether, chicken jockey.
Okay.